Good morning. Howdy ho, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show.
I hate
Uh,
you so much.
it is episode
uh,
556 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Glad to be back. How you guys doing today?
eh, I'm all right. I got a sick kid, so I'm dealing with that. But
Oh,
we're doing good. We're doing good though.
that's the worst. The sick kid is the worst
Yeah,
because no matter what you do,
yeah,
they are going to be sick. They don't understand why they're
yeah.
sick. They don't
Uh-huh.
understand how
Yep.
and the only thing you can do is just kind of give them their medicine and and wait it
He
out, you know.
he doesn't even want his medicine. Like, come on, bro. Normally he
Yeah.
takes it. He's just like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not fighting
You got
it.
to you got to do like we do to Derpy and pretend it's an airplane. You go, "Woo, open wide, Derpy."
I might have to do that.
You could let him play tic tac toe on your bald head.
He could
That
do
made
that.
no sense, Derpy. That made no sense. There's no board up here. It's it's bald, shiny, and beautiful.
You
You're just a
could, you
hater.
could let him.
You're just a hater.
Have Derpy? Did you watch the Kentucky Derby? The Kentucky
I
Derpy?
did not,
No, neither
but
did
I
I.
did see the final picture of it, and it was a nail biter.
It was, and I saw, and I immediately thought, man, we missed the boat on doing this segment called the Kentucky Derby. But
Yeah.
that's all right. We have plenty to talk about in the sports that matter. Guys, the big story this week, of course, is the Paul Skeens being brought up to the Pirates this coming
Yes.
weekend. Guys, I'm concerned for a couple of reasons, and none for the reasons that people would think. I'm not concerned about his arm. I think he's going to be just fine. I think when you get these freak of nature athletes, they make that transition just fine.
Hmm.
My concern is if this guy comes up and throws a gem, that the bats won't show up and it'll show up in the on the front page of the paper that the Buccos lose the first game that Paul Skeens pitches. That's my concern is the offense. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing I'm worried about most about Paul Skeens is our offense.
Yeah. Same here. God, we see Jared Jones pitch a gem. He gets no help. He has to, do it all by himself. Same thing. Mitch Keller has to do everything all by himself. Now you get, the most talked about rookie in baseball since what, maybe Strasburg, and in Pirates since Garrett Cole. Let's get some run support for him. But it doesn't look like that's going to materialize the way the offense has been going recently.
It's really worrisome. And the thing is, it's been such a long slump. And that's one thing that you
Yeah.
gotta be concerned about with this Pirates team because yeah, baseball season is how long, Derpy?
162.
And in 162, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs. It's a roller coaster. It's 6 hot
Yeah.
months of baseball. You got guys cooling down, guys, heating up, but it's really got to be concerning since their 9-2 start, which was pretty hot. That they really have been bad. And here we are. It's May 9th. So I mean, for a month, these bats have been cold. I don't understand how a team can collectively get that bad at hitting
Yeah.
for such a long period of time.
Yeah. We're now averaging 3.5 runs per game. Only St. Louis and the White Sox have a worse, average than we do of pretty.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. And just about like a month ago, we were one of the better teams in the league, in offense. We've lost like a whole run, almost a whole run in a month's time. So this team, man, they are struggling offensively. I don't get it. Actually, we've lost over 2.5 runs per game since the start of the season. The pitching has been there for the most part. It's been there. It's just this offense, and now you get your prized rookie coming up. You know, pressure's already on. You're making your major league debut. You have high expectations already by the way you pitched in college and the way you're pitching now. Now the pressure is going to be even more pressure on you to more or less pitch a shutout to give your team a chance to win. Like that's a lot of pressure for someone coming up, making their start. But he looks like the guy who has the personality and the mentality where it's just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to go out there and do my thing and not let it bother me. But my God, like how much more pressure can you put on a kid making
I
his debut?
see. I think that I agree with something you just said about 20 seconds ago. I do think that he's going to be okay. I think his
Yeah.
mentality is okay. Again, you see a lot of these freak of nature athletes; they do just fine, and I think he falls in that category. again, I think that the pressure comes down to these bats on offense, Mike. That's where the pressure's at. I
Yeah,
don't think that it should be felt by Paul Skeens. I think it really should be felt by this offense, and they should really feel pressured
yeah.
to get better.
They should, because my God, you're going out there, you're watching right now your top two pitchers throw gems, and you're just doing nothing at the plate. They should be feeling the pressure. This pitching staff is pitching at least past couple games have been pitching at a playoff level. And now you get another guy in that's been pitching lights out all year. Actually, for the past, what, 2, 3 years, you count in college, he was pitching the lights out. So do something on offense. And you know what, Brian, I think you're right. We haven't mentioned Livy Dunn yet, but maybe her coming to the stadium, these guys on offense will show out to try and steal Paul Skeen's girlfriend.
I'm already over this Livy Dunn thing. I gotta tell you I gotta tell you this. Taylor Swift really left a bad taste in my mouth, and we have Sierra now also with with the Russell Wilson. I just don't know how much I could take. But anyway, let's talk baseball
Oh,
here, guys. The Pirates,
normally you're all about the hotties, but not now.
well, this show is not about smut, Mike. There's no smut on this channel.
I'm going to replay 2 days ago what you were saying, sir.
I've got to claim ignorance. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
But
that was other Ryan. That was uncaffeinated Ryan. Okay.
that's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
But this Pittsburgh Pirates team, they dropped another series after it appeared that they were starting to get on a little bit of a roll. They went 3 games straight. All right, maybe, just maybe, we're turning things around. They let up. They lose a game that they should have won yesterday. They lose 5-4 to the Angels to take an L in the series. 2 games to 1 in favor of the Angels. Pirates, they do drop to 17-21 after this game. Mike, they still had hitting issues, and no surprise, of the 6 hits that the Pirates did have, Connor Joe had 2 of them. Connor Joe, I mean, come on, say what you will. This guy has been the only guy that's consistently produced all season long.
Which, great for him. I'm happy for him. But my God, if we're putting our offensive hopes on Connor Joe,
Which I don't mind if other people would participate.
Exactly.
I think,
yeah. If he's batting what he's doing now, this is a bonus. This is like, oh my God, this is a luxury. Now he's the cornerstone of the offense. It's not looking good, boys.
Angels, they are 14-23 after their season with the series with the Pirates. Guys, the division breaks down like this. Luckily, everyone in our division tends to lose when we lose, and not as much, but it happens. The Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, who's coming to town next tomorrow night, they are tied in first place. The Pirates and the Reds, still, as the last time we talked, they are tied in second place, both 5 games out, and by percentage points, the Pirates do possess that spot. In the Cardinals, as much as we love it as a Pirates fans, these Cardinals team, like, they're sitting 6 games out in the basement. They don't look like they're going to get any better.
No.
But lucky for us, they're down there.
Yeah. But, as the season goes on, it's looking like we might be joining them down in the basement. I hope it doesn't come to that, because, my God, like, this was like the perfect time for the Pirates to gain ground. Like you said, everyone in our division's been losing. We had that nice little win streak. Looked like we were going to carry it on. It's just, this didn't happen. And this division is up for grabs. Even though we are only 5 back, we see how tight this division gets down the stretch. It's just, if the offense could hit the freaking ball, we would be in first.
Why would they be able to do that? They're only professional baseball.
I know, right? Yeah.
They're off today, guys. The Pirates are off today. They do start a 3-game series against the Cubs over the weekend. Game 1 is 6:40 tomorrow and Friday. Game 2 of 3 is Saturday, which is the most highly anticipated game for most Pirate fans, of course, because Paul Skeens will be making his debut. We finish up the series on Sunday. Then we're off to Milwaukee. So you got back-to-back division series here against the 2 teams that are sitting in first place, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs. If you're going to make up any ground, if you're going to have a time to turn things around, a time to bring in a Paul Skeens and have back-to-back starts with Skeens and Jared Jones, and just maybe the offense could participate in one of these games and put up a few runs. We do have an opportunity, and I don't. I feel that this is a dead horse that we're beating, but that's what it is right now. If you win a couple games over these teams, you're going to gain ground. You gain a game every game you win against
Yeah.
these two teams ahead of us at the time. And as I said, over the next 7 days, Mike, the Pirates could put themselves in a decent position in this decent position in this
Yeah.
division.
Yeah. And my God, they could, you sweep the Cubs or win, two out of the three. That puts you in a nice spot because then, like you said, we got Milwaukee up next. Steal, 2 games against them, get you in a nice little spot. And you would think, you would hope that calling up your best prospect, your best pitching prospect, is that going to have any effect on the offense? Are they going to get excited now? Like, hey, we got a reinforcement coming in. Our pitching staff being bolstered. Hey, on offense, guys, we need to step it up. We need to support our pitching staff that's carrying the team right now. Like you would think in most organizations, most sports, you get that guy coming in that has all the promise, all the potential. That usually motivates everyone else to play
Right.
better, want to be
That's the
better.
only thing we
That's
can
going to
hope
we're going to see
for.
what this team is made of by this.
That's the
Are
only thing that you could hope for at this point
yeah,
is this motivates these guys and miraculously they can start hitting curveballs.
yeah. Are they going to be, or are they just going to be jaded and be like, oh, it's just another guy? He's
We
a
have
rookie. Blah blah blah.
we have a team full of Pedro Serranos, Mike.
Yeah,
Everybody on the team. If you pitched all fastballs as they did in spring training for the most part, this team would be red hot, and they showed that. But guess what? You get into the majors. That's a big difference. You get into regular season. That's a big difference. It's curveball, it's cutter, it's slider,
yeah,
it's fastball. There's changing speeds constantly, and that's very very difficult to do. That's why a lot of guys don't make it in professional baseball. There could be career guys, career minor league guys that that just goes to show you that when you say a term like career minor leaguers, that means everything they did for their whole career wasn't good enough to get to that next level because that next level is that much more difficult.
yeah,
And these guys that they have to figure it out, Mike, they got to figure it out. You don't want to bring up Paul Skeens and have the season go to waste. You have Jared Jones, who, as you mentioned in his last start, he threw a gem. He threw 7 innings, 1 hit. Um, and then Mitch Keller also, he threw a complete game, 1 hitter. And now you add Paul Skeens to the mix, as Brian is asking on the board, who's going to be the fifth starter out, or the odd man out. I think that obviously you have your top three. You have Keller, Skeens, Jones. I don't think that they're going to take Bailey Falter out of the lineup at this point, especially with all three of those guys being right-handers. I think Bailey Falter stays, and I also believe that Perez maybe.
yeah.
I,
I'm trying to
is
find.
he the healthy Mexican? Is it Perez or is it Gonzalez?
Gonzalez is the one who is out.
Okay, yeah. So Perez, I say Perez, Falter, Skeens, Jones, and Keller is going to be your rotation. I think that Quinn Priester should be thrown the hell out of Pittsburgh. He
Yeah,
sucks. I do want to say good morning to Ralph on the board as well as Brian. But Quinn Priester, I expected to see a major improvement from him last year. What you're seeing this year so far from Quinn Priester is very similar to his performance last year. I don't see much improvement. And again, he's let up 6 home runs in his 4 appearances. He let up 12 home runs last year in a short amount of time. Quinn Priester, in my opinion, is gone. As Ralph just said on the board, I agree with you 100%, Ralph. There's no place for him in this rotation. Here is my rotation as of right now: Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, Paul Skeens, Bailey Falter, and Perez. That is my five.
yeah.
So we
So
will see. I mean, that's a good rotation, guys.
yeah, just going by what I'm finding on MLB.com and the Pirates roster, it's showing Priester in the bullpen, only showing like 4 starters because Gonzalez is on the IR. So it seems like that fifth spot's going to be up for grabs. Whoever the Pirates are going to roll out there.
I think that
Actually,
they
no, that
should.
would put Skeens in there. Sorry, yeah, that would put Keller, Perez, Jones, Falter, and Skeens. Yeah, my bad. It hasn't been updated yet, and I don't know who's been moved off the roster and set down to make room for Skeens. It's really, I can't find like the transaction list, so I don't know who
Um,
was all moved.
Yeah.
I saw there was activity of like some players were moved up and down.
Well, I'm going to
Yesterday,
tell
I
you
forgot
one
to write
thing.
it down.
They had to take Quinn Priester.
Yeah.
You ever see the movie Full Metal Jacket? When the guy they get caught, the one dude gets caught with the
Jeez.
donuts, and they all beat the crap out of him with soap. They put soap inside of socks.
Yeah.
I think that's what they had to do to Quinn Priester. Everybody on the team had to beat the crap out of him with
You know what?
soap filled socks.
Yeah, take him out back, beat him with a rubber hose,
Yeah,
something to, actually, if they do that to him, they're going to have to do that to the entire offense as well.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Connor Joe gets beat everyone up on the team.
Right.
He's the only one doing anything. Like, my
Yeah.
God, like Big Stacks has 17 ribbies. The league leaders are up in like the high 30s. This is not looking good on this offense.
I mean, you're a sixth, 1/6 of the way through. There's more than that. Now, I mean, we're
Yeah.
well into May. You've already knocked out the last few days of March, all of April. We're a
Mhm.
week here into May. So I mean, this is a big chunk. That's a big chunk of the baseball season, guys. I mean, there still is a long way to go, but as other teams continue to win and do well and put
Yeah.
themselves in a position, we continue to do the opposite. We continue to lose. We continue to give up late runs. We continue to lose close games. We continue to not be able to hit the ball. I mean, there's a lot that this team needs to do.
Yeah.
A lot that this team needs to do, and hopefully, it can start this weekend, guys. As I said, this is division play. You have the Cubs and then the
Mhm.
Brewers. You got to take advantage of the Cubs at home. You got to go over to Milwaukee. They split with them here, 2 games apiece. Go over there, hopefully win that series, be able to pick up a game. It's guys, it's wild because we never get two things that match in Pittsburgh.
No.
You could have really good hitting, but you don't got pitching. You
Yep.
could have really good pitching, then you don't have hitting. It never fails with this team. I don't know why we try, but it is our team here, and it be what it be.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So it's pirate baseball is what it is. My God.
Yeah.
And
How about we jump? We want to jump over to football. You want to talk about football?
I want to talk about football.
Derpy, you want to do football?
Football, yes, sir.
All right, NFL. The schedule will be released on Wednesday. Now it got pushed back a week on Wednesday, May 15th. Next week, Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m. on the NFL Network. You will be able to see your favorite team's schedules released. They will be officially released next Wednesday, May 15th, 8 o'clock p.m. on NFL Network. I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait to get a look at this schedule, see who we start up against, see when the important games are. You got
Yes.
Dallas this year, you got Philadelphia, you got Kansas City. I mean, there's a bunch of good games. As I stated in an earlier show, we do have, with 2 teams in our division, the 3 toughest schedules in the league. So I can't
Yep.
wait to take a look at that.
It's only natural, we finished third in our division, have the toughest schedule in the entire NFL.
You're right. But you know what? I feel confident, Mike, because we are the 2024 Atlanta Falcons. Yes, we are the Falcons. Our new offensive coordinator, of course, the head coach down there, Arthur Smith. We also bring in Cordell Patterson, Michael Pruitt, Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller. So we are sure lucky that Atlanta Falcons team was really good last year, because
Great offense last
we're
year.
mirroring that Atlanta Falcons team.
I love it. I love it. Let's just get a bunch of guys and see what happens.
We couldn't steal, guys from a good team. It's got to be I mean, you figure that's the worst division in football,
Uh-huh.
and that team didn't win the division, if I'm remembering right.
No.
I don't remember who won that. It's so
Yeah.
non-memorable.
Yeah. Like,
But
Van Jefferson's best year came back in 2021. Hasn't come close to that since. Scotty Miller has like terrible numbers. No, I'm loving it. I am loving what we are doing on the weapons wise right here.
well, let me break this down for you guys. Let me see where I have it in my notes. I don't know what I did with it. Give me a sec.
Pruitt has 12 career touchdowns. They've all come in the latter half of his career. Been in the league since 2015, but nothing
right.
special.
Here it is. Arthur Smith, guys. I got some numbers. In his offense that he ran in Atlanta, he ran a 3 receiver set, only 17% of the snaps. 17% of the snaps, he had three receivers, which was the lowest in the NFL, the lowest. Also, he doesn't utilize his second receiver much either. The leading receiver last year for the Falcons, his last name is London. He
Drake
had,
London, yeah.
he had 69 catches for 905 yards. So if people were expecting us to come out firing off on all cylinders, it's very interesting, and I'm very interested to see how this team is moving forward, and what it is that they could do
Yeah.
to change and separate themselves what they've done last year with the new offensive coordinator, with new players. Are we going to get more of the same results?
Yeah.
And also, Mike, in a passing league, as we mentioned over and over, we are going the opposite way with creating a run first
Run orient.
offense.
Yeah. And that's like that's an organizational philosophy too. Like they set, from owner on down, they want to build a running team, a run first team, a heavy offensive line team. They think they're getting ahead of the pendulum swing, because you see that in sports, you one extreme to the next. But there has to be a middle ground, and I think that's where the Steelers need to be, is that middle ground. I think we're swinging too far to be in a run oriented team. Like you have one legit NFL receiver on this team, you have one legit tight end on this team, and you got what, two legit NFL running backs. That's it's I like moves Omar Khan's doing, but like this move on offense of only having one receiver and a bunch of guys, I don't like. It makes That's why that trade of Deontay is a head scratcher to me. You knew what you were going to get out of him. You knew you were going to get about 800 to 900 yards a season out of him. These other guys, you might be lucky to get 600, 700 yards out of them total. I just don't get I don't get the thought process.
Mike,
What we're
also
doing.
according to the CBS listings of the quarterbacks in the NFL, they give you 1 through 32, and what they believe is going to be the best, the worst, etc., etc. They have Russell Wilson ranked 19. So, with that being said, just this time last year, I think Kenny was somewhere in the 20s there. So you just start kind of piecing things together. Your quarterback's 19 out of 32. You're going backwards as far as the philosophy in the NFL goes. But so
And
it's going to be interesting. I mean,
yeah,
I have high hopes. I don't get me wrong. I'm optimistic on how the season's going to go,
yeah,
but it's going to be very peculiar.
yeah.
As of right now, it looks like it's going to be a very peculiar type season.
Yeah, and like those quarterback rankings, those things are very subjective, because you see like rookies
Right.
above
I'm just
Russell
going by what
Wilson
we
and stuff
have.
like that.
Of
Yeah,
course. I mean,
yeah,
right.
he was ninth last year in touchdowns. So and 19th in yardage, and they benched him the last two games. So those numbers would have only been better. So to me, it's a head scratcher. I know, like that first year in Denver and his last year in Seattle weren't the greatest years, but last year was like a rebound year for him. So I don't get the hate for Russell Wilson. I know he's a goofy guy.
I
His
don't really
treatment of
see any
teammates were
hate.
weird, blah blah blah. But like the saying he's not still an effective quarterback is crazy to me, because we saw he wasn't the problem in Denver last year,
Right.
and he's a market improvement on the quarterback room we had last year. You want to talk about hodgepodge of nothingness? That's what we had in that quarterback room last year. At least we got Wilson, who's still I think in my subjective list is a top 15 quarterback in this league. Now, when I say top 15, I mean like 15, 16, 14 in that range.
Well, I mean, 19 isn't that far off, Mike. I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, 19 sounds bad, but he's
yeah,
still in that ballpark,
yeah, yeah. And there's like a lot of guys clumped in that tier that, any given week they
And I
can
think the reason
play
he
well.
loses ground is because of his age. He's a little bit
Yeah,
older now. These guys
yeah,
are younger quarterbacks and
yep,
very talented. And you've seen a bit of a fall off. It's almost like, did he peak too early? Did Russell
yeah,
Wilson, all is the best behind him, I think,
yeah.
is the concern
Well,
mostly with.
35 years old, yeah, but I think he still has it up here, and he was still able to move around the pocket last year, still able to throw a great deep ball last year. So we'll see. Like, it's just concerning that we don't have a true number one receiver. I think we have a number two in George and a bunch of like a 3 in Wilson and then a bunch of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 receivers.
And as you mentioned, I don't think a lot of these guys are going
No,
to be on the team.
like
A
Scotty
lot of
Miller's not
these,
going to be on the
Scotty
team.
Miller, he's going to be your Armon Watts.
Your
Uh,
LaRaven Clark
your
type signings
LaRaven
last
Clark,
year.
all these guys last year they brought in and didn't even make it to the
Yeah,
second week of spring. I mean,
yeah,
that's what these guys
yeah,
are.
yeah.
We
And
do have a caller, Mike. I want to take this call. This is Ralph Williams. Ralph, you're on, man.
Hey, what's happening, guys? How are you?
Good,
what up,
my
Ralph?
brother. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. I didn't know I could come in on this, so I finally figured it out, and here we are. So,
Welcome, my friend.
thank you,
Glad to hear from you. What do you
thank
think?
you.
Of course. What do you think about this situation the Steelers got going, man? Are we the 2024 Atlanta Falcons, or what's going on, man?
Well, I agree with you on that, but we dropped the ball on Tyler Boyd. We dropped the ball on Odell Beckham. We had opportunities galore to bring receivers in here. Mike Williams went bye-byes. The Steelers just, for some strange reason, dropped the ball in the wide receiver position. They were focused on, other things, and now you have the situation you have, and I keep seeing and hearing about these rumors that Omar Khan's got something up his sleeve before training camp starts. So we're going to find out what happens here. Maybe he does. I don't know.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
hearing a lot of rumors like after June 2nd, when like the cap hits for cuts and trades lessen for like, like a trade. You keep hearing DK Metcalf, and a lot of the signs are like, if you look at salary cap issues that Seattle's having, like him being moved after June 2nd would free up a lot of cap space for them. Is there a trade going there? That's
Yeah,
like
I
the
keep
big
hearing
rumor right
Najee
now.
Harris's name coming up, Mike. I keep on hearing, yeah, his name coming up in Dallas. The Metcalf thing I'm hearing now as well. So there's some. We'll see what happens after
Yeah.
June 2nd if anything's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's when it would be, and it wouldn't be surprised too. Like even halfway through training camp or the end of training camp, we finally get a guy after a late cut somewhere.
That's the
Yeah,
big concern
exactly.
for me. The big concern, guys, is Ralph nailed it right on the head. You wouldn't think by the way that Omar Khan has handled putting this team together over the past couple seasons that he would leave a number 2 wide receiver position wide open with nothing, no plans. It doesn't add up. Is the only reason that I think that there is something up his sleeve. That is the only reason that I think that he's going to do something, guys. We can't go into the season without 2 receivers, right?
No,
No,
we can't. No,
go
we
ahead, Ralph.
can't go in. We can't go into the season like this, Ryan, because Russell Wilson needs somebody to throw to other than running it himself and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. I mean, we'll see if Firemouth stays healthy. Maybe the tight end's something they have in mind. I don't know, but they have to do something. Oh, by the way, they just invited Phil Dracovic
Yeah,
to come
saw
for
that.
rookie camp this weekend. So there you go,
I'm
guys.
just
Yeah,
seeing
hey,
you had that on the
that's the
board.
answer right there.
Yeah. But hey, he was the fastest quarterback, Ralph. Is that not true at the combine?
No, that was Keaton Slovis.
Okay.
That's slow,
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
But like, I don't know, unless they're counting on Roman Wilson to come in and be an outside number 2 receiver right away.
I mean, is that a possibility? Is this kid got it? I mean, could he
That
play
could
the
be.
outside receiver in the pros?
I think, yeah, I think he can play inside and out. He is what 5'10", 5'11". That's not going to limit his ability on the outside. So he has the ability, he has the want. He is just, we've seen a lot of guys like that have that ability and the want and desire in college. Is it going to carry through in the pros?
Right.
Well, they had opportunities too, guys, in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
There were some tall wide receivers available. They never bothered to even draft them. I thought at least they would try to draft 2 wide receivers. They only drafted 1.
Yeah, I thought at least somewhere in the later rounds they would have picked someone else up. Kind of like what Brendan Rice. He would have been a nice little prospect, not just because that's Jerry Rice's kid, but I think he's going to be a productive receiver in the NFL, not a standout, but at least a serviceable number 3 in the league. And I think he would have been a good addition to the roster.
I wanted them to take McCaffrey's brother. I wanted them to take McCaffrey's brother.
Yes,
and he was gone too before the Steelers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he went once he started to fall. I think the team was like panic and hurry up and grabbed him. I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of McCaffrey's brother.
It's going to be interesting, guys, as teams are continuing to build their offense in this pass-heavy league. we continue now. I mean, not continue, but we started a whole new trend. Maybe Mike, as you said, maybe we are jumping the gun and we're going to be ahead of the curve
But
with this style offense. But
yeah.
it's going to be interesting, man.
Unless they're hoping, like, team, they can, with that big physical offensive line, pound teams, that forces them to bring down into the box, then open up the passing game that way. But again, are these receivers going to be able to get open? Are they going to have to be schemed open? Can they get open on their own through their route running ability? I just don't see it with some of these guys, especially with Pickens. He's not a great route runner, not a great separator at times. So we'll see.
So as Willie Colon, he comes out on a podcast this week, and he makes a couple observations and talks about a couple facts about Mike Tomlin. Now this all plays together. If you're wondering where I'm going, he points out that Tomlin's been here. We have 17 seasons of non-losing regular season football. Only 4 of those seasons included playoff wins. 4 out of 17. We got to do something. If this maybe this is the answer. Maybe what we're doing is the answer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the answer. But at the end of the day, when you think of that, guys, 17 seasons that he has not went, we finished 500 or better. Only 4 seasons that he managed to win any playoff games. That, guys, that's mind blowing to me. That's just something that we were never used to. Yeah. Maybe in the 80s we could say that we were, but in normal or in modern Steeler history, this is unheard of.
Yeah, but like a flip side to that is Mike Tomlin's going to guarantee you 8 to 9 wins a year. And on that, after that, that's on the players.
Does that
that's
even
on the
matter?
Players at that point.
Well, no, it's not.
I'm just saying that's another argument that can be made. Like,
but all of his players over the years obviously were the ones that accomplished those records of 500 or better. It wasn't Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin took,
and it doesn't
Duck
switch
Hodges,
over to the players and not Mike Tomlin when you get to
Tomlin
the playoffs.
Took Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, and the hodgepodge of nothingness the past few years and turned those into teams. He took that horrible quarterback room last year to the playoffs.
Well, you could die on that hill. I think a lot.
I'm not dying on it. I'm just throwing out. You know me, devil's advocate.
Well, I know, and I know that's why what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I'm just putting it out there. Like that's
But Mike, when you seriously look at these numbers,
you got to do something in
seasons, having 500 or better, which is unbelievable. You tell somebody that, you're automatically in a conversation talking about the Hall of Fame. But when you finish the sentence, only 4 of those seasons, 13 of 17, they were unable to win a playoff game.
You know what, it is frustrating, Ryan, and I do agree with you on this. But I've said this many times, Ryan, on my show, and it. I've said that Mike Tomlin will never win a Super Bowl again. Okay, and I found out from a couple good sources of mine. I have a few.
Absolutely.
They said that this is the last extension for Tomlin. So this is the last extension.
Because he hasn't signed one yet, has he? He still hasn't been extended yet.
But if there is going to be another one, this will be the last one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like I said, I think, my personal opinion, I think that this guy's going to be here as long as he wants to, until something really, really bad happens and things just start to go downhill. How can you fire a guy that's never had a losing season? At the end of the day, how can you fire a guy that hasn't had a losing season? And you could always go back to that his Super Bowl. People can argue it was his players, it wasn't his players, whatever it is. The fact of the matter is the guy won a Super Bowl. The guy has never had a losing season. I don't see the Pittsburgh upper management front office, Rooney's. I don't see them firing a guy like that.
With Rooney too, all of a sudden this year he's like, oh, now everything's unacceptable. Where was this temperament years ago?
Yeah.
Where was this impetus of let's modernize our front office? Why did it take so long? Why did it take until we hired Omar Khan and Andy Weidel for there to be a change in the front office? You had Kevin Colbert, who was supposedly the greatest GM of all time. If you asked Steelers stooge media and Steeler fans that this guy was the greatest GM of all time, why didn't he put better rosters together? Why did it take him forever? Why did the change in philosophy of drafting better, being aggressive in free agency? Why is it just now? What was the impetus for Rooney to finally wake up? I just don't understand it.
Well, you know what, Mike? He come under a lot of pressure over the last 3 or 4 years by the minority ownership, because I'm going to tell you something right now. The Rooneys and the Steelers never want to be wrong. Okay,
oh
that's
no.
the whole problem.
Yep.
All right. And Art Rooney II hired Mike Tomlin when he first took over the team, and then ran out Bill Cowher. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I know Bill Cowher's wife was sick, and he had to step away for that. But there's a second part to this. Him and Art II were not getting along ever. And when Art II took over, he said, and I quote, "I will bring in another coach," and that's exactly what he did. And he ran out Bill Cowher. So that's fine. But now he has to eat this.
We're losing Ralph a little bit there.
Yeah, we're losing you there, Ralph. You're breaking
If
up.
Mike doesn't at least get him a Super Bowl, he got his dad a Super Bowl. Okay, because
Also, guys, I
remember Dan Rooney was still part of the whole equation and if Art doesn't get one with this coach, yeah. Oh, all right. Well, you know what? I'm going to go, guys. So I'll talk with you. Thanks.
all right. Thank you for
Thanks,
your call,
Ralph.
Ralph.
Yeah.
Always great to hear
you're
from you,
breaking
sir.
up there at the end.
Yeah,
Sorry about that. But no, and that's the other thing too. Dan Rooney was the Steelers for the longest time. He was the one who was unafraid to make moves and stuff. And it seemed like his son became so complacent. And it's like he's finally now waking up. I need to do things like my dad did.
Like, let me tell you this. Can I tell you this?
Yeah.
It's been 15 years since we won a Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, okay, whatever, that's fine. But that means 15 years ago was three playoff wins of the 8-10 playoff record that he has.
Yeah.
3 of them come from that one season 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And then people would always argue it. And again, I'm not starting this Cowher Tomlin debate. I'm just mentioning something. If the guy that has this record, 17 seasons, it's always been over 500, and you want to get away from that, you won your only Super Bowl with Bill Cowher's team. Maybe he would have gotten close at some point between then and now, the last 15 years. And again, we could go into GMs
with the Packers Super Bowl. We got
it was only 2 years after the Super Bowl that we won, but in the big picture, so that's 13 seasons. Okay, let's call it 13, Mike, instead of 15. It really no big difference.
No.
The point of the matter being, it never got better to the point where you could have said, wow, look at the great job he's really done in turning this around, getting the guys motivated to make another run at a championship. He basically took what was everything at the back end of that former coach, won a Super Bowl right off the bat. And you would have thought at that point, wow, this guy's such a great coach. We're going to see more of this through his tenure, which in fact we haven't. We have seen a guy that's never has never lost more than half his games, which is a fantastic thing. Don't get me wrong. It is a great feat. Nobody else has done that. But he has to cement himself in the books, in the record books, by winning in the games that matter. Because if you don't win in the games that matter, all those games in regular season that you won don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's reverse his career. Let's just say, he had no losing records, but has never won a Super Bowl, then finally breaks through this year and would have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Would that change people's opinions on him?
Absolutely.
So by winning early, you set yourself up for backlash late, whereas you fail early.
Even if he wins Super Bowl number 2, I think that even makes a difference.
Because that's like how Cowher, he was, failure, one, then gone, and a legend Tomlin wins and has.
That's what I'm saying. It makes a difference. It'll make a difference if it was later, because you can say this. As your career progresses, you were still able to manage to win championships. That's why I say it makes a difference. If he wins one now, people, you can't say he never won with a team that he built or a team that was built for him, or people. You could throw that out the window, which is what you're going to get a lot of arguments from. He needs to get a late championship, Mike, to cement himself as a great coach in this league.
Well, that team that he took to the Super Bowl, the team that he took over for, lost the year before, had a complete meltdown, couldn't recapture of that because they won the Super Bowl, had a losing record. He took over for a team that had a losing record. That So, like, I think people kind of forget that that team wasn't a juggernaut. They were kind of lucky to win that first Super Bowl. We saw like they
I thought that was a
struggled
pretty
against
damn
in
good
that Super
team.
Bowl.
I
It
mean,
was a good team, but they
but
struggled in
guess
that
what?
Super
The
Bowl. Then the next year
Patriots
they
struggled to
struggled.
beat the Rams in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl. They only scored
yeah,
13 points. I
yeah.
mean,
They struggled. Yeah,
but you can really
but
say that about
that
anybody, Mike.
that Patriots team went on to be one of the greatest dynasties in
And I
sports.
could
So
continue with more teams that really had uncharacteristic Super Bowls.
yeah, oh yeah.
Uh,
But no, I'm just
you
saying,
know,
like, let's put that in context too. I'm not taking anything away from that Super Bowl team. That was
right.
a damn good team. They just had a bad Super Bowl. Then that year they had a letdown that following
That
year.
team, 05 through 11, it went to 3 Super Bowls. It
Yeah,
was basically the same group of guys, and
yeah.
it was
That
a
was
very good
yeah.
team, no matter which way you
That's
slice it.
when yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you take
when
Willie Park, you take Bettis out, you add Parker, you
yeah.
plug this guy, and you take this. It's the same. That's that locker room. It's the same group of guys.
That's that team that cemented Kevin Colbert as the greatest GM ever in Yinzer fans' eyes was that window right there when he didn't miss.
Mike, let
But
me
then
break
that
this
was
to
his
you.
Hall of
I
Fame.
have something super for you that I think you're gonna love. It's gonna
Oh God.
go off of what you just said. The fans are gonna love. Mike, let me tell you. Did you know that the most of the Steeler fans in the world, 2/3 of the Steeler fans are outside of Pennsylvania? Mike, this
Yes.
is a statistic that's known. 2/3 of all Steeler fans are outside of Pennsylvania. That's how popular this is, Mike. That is the most in the NFL. Nobody has a fan base like that. Not the Cowboys, not the
Mm-hmm.
Patriots, not anybody. Mike, 2/3 of the
Yep.
Steeler nation is outside of Pennsylvania.
That it does not surprise me at all. The collapse of the steel mill, everyone migrated, and then they stayed Steeler fans, man, and then they raised their kids Steeler fans, and we've just invaded all of North America and the
It's
entire
great.
world.
Remember when we were in LA? I mean, yeah, when you see
Yeah,
us take over a stadium in Arizona,
yeah,
it's impressive. But you know what? It's Arizona.
yeah,
When we took over the stadium in LA,
yeah,
that, my friend, is
yep.
impressive. You're talking big city. Once you start
Mm-hmm.
talking New York, Chicago, LA,
Yeah.
to see that stadium taken over
Oh
by
yeah,
Steeler fans was so much fun.
yeah.
But yes, guys, if anybody talks trash about your Steelers and you ain't won a Super Bowl and all your success was in the 70s, it's all a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
Listen, 2/3 of Steeler Nation is outside of Pennsylvania.
yeah,
And I got to tell you, Pittsburgh got a lot of Steeler
yep.
fans. Pennsylvania got a lot. That just goes to show you guys.
Like, and like, when you say Steeler, people making fun of Steelers, oh, we haven't won a Super Bowl in forever. It's always from organizations that have never won a
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
absolutely. The Browns tell us this all the time. Look
Like
at them.
you guys were like the Tomlin window that we were just bitching
Right.
about would be the greatest run in some of your franchise's
You don't hear
history.
the 49ers fans saying that. You
No.
don't hear the Cowboys fans saying that.
No.
You don't hear the Packers or the Patriots
Chiefs,
fans
the
saying that.
Patriots, no,
It's all these teams
that have never won.
right.
That have never won.
Derpy,
Where-
is that true? Does that sound right to you, Derpy?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I couldn't you couldn't be more correct, Mike.
Yeah,
I've never heard
it's-
anybody that was a fan of a really good team say that. Maybe when we were trading blows back and forth with the Patriots fans
Yeah,
over the
you want
past,
to talk shit,
you know,
yeah, like because they had the recent success. We had
right.
quasi and a bunch, like yeah, but like you hear the Browns say you've won nothing. You like the Houston Oilers have won the AFC North more recent than you have.
Yeah.
So shut your mouth. The Bengals, you've been to 2 Super Bowls.
3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, this is how unforgettable of a franchise you are. Chicago Bears, what have you done? You have 1 Super Bowl. The Jets, you have 1 Super Bowl way late. Like you guys have won nothing, and you guys would salivate at the chance to have Mike Tomlin's coaching window, Bill Cowher's coaching window. You guys would kill to have that, the window that we've had. Oh, you would kill to have the Steelers 1980s,
Right.
window.
Mike, but we can't go on talking about the Steelers today without mentioning what happened yesterday in one of the bigger stories in the country, in the world, maybe, during the Donald Trump trial. Stormy Daniels, the former porn star, had a little bit to say about Big Ben. She apparently went on to say that when she was, meeting up with Donald, she met Roethlisberger. Donald introduced him as Big Ben. She testified that she got to try on his ring. She said she got 2 fingers in, which I thought was interesting. and
He has big hands.
Big Ben. But the thing is, it's funny to me is, of all the thousands and thousands and thousands of professional athletes that came and gone through the history of time, the one that comes out in this, the name that comes out in this particular, this thing that can be
Yeah.
very embarrassing, of course, would be
Yeah.
Big Ben Roethlisberger, our quarterback. What do you think, Mike?
That was during Big Ben's
His wild years.
his as someone once said it to me, his throwing picks, raping chicks era.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
right.
Allegedly era.
Allegedly.
That was, that's his criminal era. Oh my god, I
Right.
feel dirty saying this and
Well,
giggling through this.
I remember he was riding the motorcycles
tracks
and
for that
wrecking and
era, Ben. That tracks for him.
But
Okay.
the guy was in
You
his
wouldn't
early
now.
20s. Who in their early 20s had it all together. I mean, come on.
Sidney Crosby, Mario Lemieux, that's about it.
Yeah, but
LeBron, he stayed out of trouble. That's about it. Those are the three off the top of my head.
Of course, Ralph on the board.
Yes,
Absolutely,
thank
my
you.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Yeah, it
call.
was nice.
Always
But,
good hearing from you.
But yeah, that tracks for that era of Big Ben, the scummy Ben.
The scummy Ben.
That
Guys,
was before his wife got married and said, "Listen here, motherfucker."
now Ralph did make a great point. Tyler Boyd ends up going to the Titans. Listen, and he didn't really get much money. If he was looking for big money, which makes me think it was something different. I don't know what it was. I don't have an answer. I don't have an explanation. But I think that there was a little bit more than what we were being told, because he goes to Tennessee, a team that again didn't pay him a lot of money to go there, but he does now. He teams up with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, guys. That's a pretty nice 1-2-3 punch in Tennessee, and gives Will Levis and maybe even Mason Rudolph, very, very, very good selection of receivers, Mike.
Yeah. And they also have former first round pick Treylon Burks. He's another name I've been reading and hearing that, look, he might be a receiver the Steelers can target. Get cheap. A former first round pick, has been somewhat productive. I wouldn't be opposed, throw if they willing to trade him for a low level draft pick, bring him back, bring him on to see if he has anything. I would not be opposed to that, but are they willing to make a deal? Are they wanting to run 4 deep in there, rotate receivers out? Because some of those receivers are getting older.
Why couldn't we take a page out of Arthur Smith's Tennessee Titan book instead of his Atlanta Falcons book?
Yes, that's what I
want Tennessee Titan Arthur Smith.
Those offenses, they were good. They were like top 10, top 15 in scoring. Those were good offenses. I would take that. Give me that.
Mike, we do have to move on. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they lose their first round pick. Number 14th overall goes to San Jose per the Erik Karlsson trade conditions. However, the Penguins still do have a chance to get a first round pick if the Carolina Hurricanes make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, which this team's as good as anybody else that is still in it. If the Carolina Hurricanes make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, the Penguins will get a first round pick. If not, they will not.
Yeah. So I don't think Carolina's going to make it. That East Division is so tough. But it would be nice. Would be nice if they can eke through. We can at least get a late round pick.
Who are they? I mean, there's Boston, there's New York, there's Florida, and there is Carolina. I mean, that's a great 4 teams.
Yeah, it's tough.
It'll be tough. It'll be tough.
It's tough, and I think they're trailing in their. Yeah, they're down 2 games to nothing against the Rangers, and it's looking like the Rangers might be might put the nail in the coffin tonight.
Well, they're coming up on 30 years. Would they win it in 93, 94?
Something like that, yeah. And they had to buy a championship. They had to buy Messier, Gretzky. They had to buy a championship.
That team was a lot of fun to watch. Any way you slice it, Mike, and I agree. Don't get me wrong, but
I hated that. I hated
that Ranger squad, but they were tough. No two ways about it.
I'm getting ready to go off on Mark Messier. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's do that, please. Mike, also, here's one for you in college football. Four FBS teams took had 0 incoming transfers. You want to hear who they are?
Yeah.
4 FBS teams had 0 transfers incoming. One was Army. 2
Makes sense.
was Navy.
Makes sense.
3 was Air Force.
Makes sense.
And 4 was Clemson.
Ooh.
Make that
Really?
make sense. Yes.
Really?
Yes. 100% true. Those 4 teams had no incoming transfers. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Clemson. What do you make of that?
That's wild. Like, huh. Like Clemson's still not a bad program.
No, Clemson's a top
Mhm.
program, especially in the conference. And
Huh.
they're just a couple seasons removed from championships. And
That's wild. I thought you were gonna say Colorado.
right, which would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but
would make
Clemson,
yeah.
that's a shocker. Like the other 3 make perfect sense.
I mean, you're just 3 seasons removed from Trevor Lawrence, and he took the team to back-to-back championship games. It's this team is not a bad college at all. I mean, it's again
No,
considered a top college, especially football.
That is wild.
I don't even know what to make of that. I don't even know what to make.
To me, that is a head scratcher.
Speaking of some interesting college news and notes, Mike, over the past week, the Pitt Panthers baseball team, in one game, they scored 22 runs, and in another game, they scored 23 runs. 22 runs and 23 runs. That's the baseball team.
Can we have them come instruct the pros how to see the ball, hit the ball?
Right.
See the ball, hit the ball.
Take a ride over to Oakland, grab them guys, leave the guys that's from the North Shore over in Oakland, and we'll bring the guys that can put up 45 runs.
It might be better. It might not be much better, but my God.
45 runs in 2 games. Not a bad average.
No.
Also, Mike, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they take the L. Of course, they played that tournament game.
Yeah.
Mike, they lose 1-0 to the FC Tulsa team. Does this disappoint you, or do you kind of find it consistent with what the Riverhounds have been doing this year?
It's consistent with what they've done this year. It kind of disappointed based off of like last year of how they performed, but look at every year as its own year in a vacuum. It's a little disappointing. I think everyone, and even themselves, had higher expectations coming into this year of how they would perform.
Yeah,
not just in the hunt tournament, but overall as well.
Yeah, still, I mean, it's still very new to Pittsburghers, so I don't think it's going to have that much of effect as far as fans. I think that fans are making their way out. Obviously, they made their way out last year because it was a successful team. But I got to tell you, at the end of the day, I think that this Pittsburgh Riverhounds team is gaining momentum over time, especially as of late. And again, soccer's still pretty new to people in Pittsburgh. Arguably the most popular sport on the planet, but here in Western Pennsylvania, that's not the case. So I hope to see this team continue to do what they've done as far as building a fan base. They're putting money into Highmark Stadium down there. So, just got to hope the best, and let's see what they can continue to do, man.
It's hard to believe they've been around 20 years, because for like a large portion of it, they were considered a joke and an afterthought.
Yeah.
And it's like they finally just becoming better and better.
Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
The2dumyinzers.com. They're running on social media. Links are all over there. Merch stores over there. The blog is over there. And there's a new one up of little facts and figures about Paul Skeens threw up this morning. So all over there at the2dumyinzers.com.
Super. I listen, guys, give me a minute. I do want to give out some plugs today. We owe, and these people deserve. So let me do this. Ralph, I do want to say, Ralph Williams, who was a caller today, do check out his show every Wednesday at WBVP Radio. That's Beaver County Radio. You can check it out on YouTube because it is visualized as well, not just a radio show. You can also check them out on the WBVP Facebook page as well. That is every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Ralph and his co-host Smoke and Jim, they put on a great sports show. I do highly recommend. Also, Brian Pasquale. Brian has a radio show as well at WBVP. He is the host of One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. I do recommend his show as well. That is every one. Now listen. Ralph is every Tuesday. Brian is every Wednesday. I'm so sorry. Ralph's show is 4 to 6 on Tuesday. Brian's show, One Man's Opinions, is Wednesday from 5 to 6. Both of these shows I highly recommend. And I do want to give a plug and special shout out to the guys at WBVP because they have been mentioning the name of our show on the morning time on the radio over at BVP. So again, go over to check out their website. They have an app as well if you want to go check it out. Yes, Brian, I am straightening that out. I had on wrong days. One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale every Wednesday, 5 to 6. Sports Corner with Ralph Williams every Tuesday from 4 to 6. Two great sports shows. I do highly recommend them. And I do, as I said, I give a big thank you to the guys over at WBVP as well. Guys, you ready to do a little bit of trivia?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. This is a Paul Skeens trivia question, guys. So, Derpy, put your thinking cap on. Guys on the board, here we go. Paul Skeens hit 313 with 10 doubles at LSU. Paul Skeens hit 313 with 10 doubles at LSU. How many home runs did Paul Skeens hit while at LSU? Take a minute to think that over, guys. Come right back to it. We are live. We're live 5 days a week, right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. With the live show that we do every day, we take over and upload it on Spotify and podcast form at 8 o'clock p.m. So if you don't have a chance to watch, or maybe you just rather listen to the show, you could always put your earbuds in anywhere you're at work, at the, wherever, the gym, and you could always listen to the show over on Spotify. Go check it out. Mike does have Livy Dunn over in his window, as you can see.
Yeah, she's going to go up to her for the rest of the show.
She what?
She's going to give me the answer.
All right.
She knows what's up.
She has to know, right? All right, gentlemen.
I'm hoping
Paul
she knows because I don't know.
Paul Skeens hit 313. He hit 313 at LSU. He had 10 doubles. But the question of the day is, guys, I need to know how many home runs Paul Skeens hit at LSU. Derpy, I'm going to start with you. How many home runs did Paul Skeens hit at LSU?
I'm going to go 23.
23. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
All right. Locking Derpy. And Derpy said 23 home runs is what Paul Skeens hit at LSU. Paul Skeens hit 313 with 10 doubles at LSU. The question of the day is how many home runs did he hit in that period of time? Derpy says 23. Mike, what do you think?
I'm going to go with 15.
15. And is that your final answer?
My final answer, Livy Dunn, she is saying that he hit 20. Whoa, Derpy, settle down.
What happened? What did you say, Mike?
Livy Dunn is saying he hit 20.
Livy Dunn saying he hit 20?
Yeah.
Brian on the board says, how long till Livy Dunn has a restraining order on Derpy?
Well, after that
you
Blake
figured
fiasco, it's going to come quick.
Well, Taylor Swift, once he started heading the fan club, it was really quick. It was record-setting time that she got the restraining order.
Yeah, she went right to Jason. She went right to Travis Kelce.
Yeah. And Brian on the board says 12 home runs. So, Mike, you said 15. Derpy says 23. Brian says 12. And Livy Dunn says how many, Mike?
She said 20.
20. All right. So the question of the day, guys, is this. Paul Skeens hit 313 with 10 doubles at LSU. How many home runs did he hit in that same period of time? Guys, the answer to that question is 13. He hit 13 home runs while at LSU to go along with his 313 average and his 10 doubles. Maybe, just maybe, Mike, he could be the answer to this Pirates offense.
He might be. You know what? Just put him out there. Let him hit. What's the worst that could happen? He gets beamed in the head. Fuck it.
Yeah, I would bat him clean up at this point, you know?
You know what? Might as well.
Hey, Ohtani had just hit 2 home runs the other night. So, I mean, you know, with this day and age and this caliber of player coming up, that may be the answer.
We need something at the plate.
Absolutely. Mike, anything before we get ready to take off?
Oh, it's all over Steelers Twitter. Someone went back through and tracked Strahan sacks. There was a phantom sack. We're not talking about the one where Brett Favre laid down. So now Yinzer fans are saying TJ Watt is the true sack king of the NFL.
Interesting.
And that the NFL needs to go back through and retrack Strahan sacks. Take that sack away. Make TJ Watt number 1.
Derpy.
Let's go Buccos.
Yeah.
I guess.
He's like, I guess.
All right. Got a big.
I got nothing
They got a
really.
big series coming up. Of course, Derpy has the Guardians fan who's doing very well, so he has to stoop down to our level to have these conversations,
Yeah,
and we appreciate it.
He's like, my team wins. Your
Yeah.
team can't do anything right.
So we do appreciate you, Derpy, coming down to our level. It helps us. It helps us psychologically. So also, I do want to say thank you to everybody for checking us out and hanging out with us today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We wouldn't do it without you. And then everybody on the board as well. Always super. The Collins, greatly appreciated. And again, everybody on the board always keeps things interesting. Guys, Paul Skeens, he's on the hill Saturday. Unless
Book your
there's a lightning storm, nothing is going to stop this. So
Jared Jones and Paul Skeens. That's a great weekend for baseball right there.
Absolutely. If there's any time for these bats to come alive, this would be a great time to give these guys a hand. But we will see.
The bats will come alive and the pitching will fall apart. Pirate baseball, baby.
Just like clockwork. Mike, anything else, man?
I got nothing. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Derpy?
Like and subscribe.
Book your tickets for Saturday.
All right. I heard that they were selling fast. I got word at the radio station this morning that these tickets are selling fast. So if you do want some, you better get on it quick. All right, Mike, I think that's everything, sir.
That's everything. For
Mike at the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, Derpy, myself, everybody have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.